best and they're so disgusting. Check it out now if you don't believe it. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're delving into a topic that might resonate with many of you: the peculiar eating idiosyncrasies of narcissists. I've gotta tell you, mealtimes in my household felt more like navigating a minefield, especially with Dad at the head of the table. His eccentric eating habits transformed what should have been moments of familial connection into tense, uncomfortable affairs. I'd often leave those meals feeling drained and utterly perplexed, questioning why things had to be so strained. Reflecting on those experiences now, I realize just how detrimental those habits were to our family dynamic. And that's precisely why I'm here today, sharing my insights with all of you. In this video, we're going to dissect 5 peculiar eating behaviors commonly exhibited by narcissists. However, before we dive in, it's important to note, having these habits doesn't automatically classify someone as a narcissist. Human behavior is nuanced, and individuals exhibit a wide spectrum of actions. So, let's maintain an open-minded approach and consider the broader context. Alright, let's unravel these culinary quirks and uncover how they align with the narcissistic mindset. Brace yourselves, because you're about to gain some eye-opening insights. Let's set the scene. It's family dinner time, and my dad has an eager audience. He waits for everyone to settle in, then launches into these extravagant tales about his day. He boasts about putting someone in their place at work or outsmarting his colleagues, reveling in every moment as if he's the star of the show. As he spins these stories, you can practically feel the pride and arrogance radiating from him. We never quite knew if he was recounting reality or weaving a fiction, but one thing was consistent: he always cast himself as the hero. I dubbed it a Del orgasm because it seemed like he was getting high on his own delusions. He inhabited this fantasy realm, and sharing these stories gave him an undeniable thrill. As children, we were completely drawn in. His fantasies became our reality, and we hung on his every word, treating them as undeniable truths. Even my mom played along, boosting his ego and adopting the role of his biggest fan. It was as if he held us all under his spell, and he relished every moment of it. Number 2, the perfectionist narcissist. These individuals take control to an extreme level, especially during mealtime. It's not simply about how they eat, it's about dictating how everyone around them eats as well. They meticulously oversee every aspect, from your posture to your chewing technique, and don't even think about deviating from proper utensil etiquette. To them, meals aren't just about nourishment, they're elaborate productions, with them as the directors and everyone else as unwitting actors. Any minor slip becomes an excuse for them to unleash their psychological torment, as if you've sabotaged their meticulously crafted performance. They view you as a mere prop in their pursuit of perfection, leaving no space for authenticity. Being yourself around them is impossible. Every action is scrutinized. Every bite is critiqued. If you dare to exchange a glance with a sibling while chewing, prepare for endless criticism. It's cruel, robotic, and utterly absurd. But that's narcissists for you, particularly those fixated on appearances. While they may crave elegance and flawlessness, their true aim is control, manipulating every aspect of your life, right down to your table manners. Number 3, the group eating dynamic. It felt like a scene straight out of a cult movie. Imagine sitting around the dinner table with your family, but instead of warmth, there's an eerie tension lingering in the air. That's the reality I faced in my household, courtesy of my dear old dad. He was fixated on the idea of family meals, preaching about their supposed ability to foster bonds and unity. But in truth, it was merely another opportunity for him to assert his control. If we didn't all gather together, it was as if we were violating some sacred decree. Who would he target if we weren't all present to witness it? Who would he shame or manipulate to satisfy his craving for attention? The atmosphere was suffocating, as if we were bound by some twisted pact. Regardless of how late he arrived, how disinterested we felt, or how unappetizing the meal was, we were required to sit at that table and endure his tyranny. Enjoying our food was a distant dream, the mere thought was laughable. It's no wonder many survivors of narcissistic abuse have a complicated relationship with food. For some, it offers solace. For others, it serves as a painful reminder of the trauma they endured. Can you really blame them? Number 4. The animalistic eating habits. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about table manners. Imagine sitting down for a meal with your family, only to feel like you've stepped into a chaotic zoo. These narcissists seem utterly oblivious to the concept of proper dining etiquette. They chew with gusto, talk with their mouths full, and couldn't care less about the discomfort they cause others. It's as if they're in the midst of a feeding frenzy, devouring their food as if it's their last meal on earth. Asking them to chew quietly is akin to inviting a full-blown argument. I'll never forget the time I inquired about my dad's thoughts on the food, only to receive a bewildering response. He simply asked, "What is taste?" Can you fathom it? To him, food was merely sustenance. Regardless of its appearance, aroma, or flavor, he'd consume anything without a second thought. But here's the twist: dare to criticize their behavior, and they'll swiftly deflect blame onto you. Instead of owning up to their lack of manners, they'll accuse you of hypersensitivity or even question your hearing. It's exasperating, but par for the course with these narcissists. They'll go to great lengths to evade accountability for their actions. Number 5. Food control. Get ready, because we're delving into the unsettling realm of food control, where narcissists wield your diet as a weapon to manipulate and demean you. Picture this. You're about to enjoy a meal, but instead of savoring the flavors, you're tiptoeing around the narcissist's scrutinizing gaze. They're monitoring every morsel you consume, poised to unleash comments that chip away at your self-esteem. They dictate the quantity you eat, instilling guilt for even the slightest indulgence. It's as though they're monitoring your every forkful, decreeing what's deemed acceptable and what's not. Should you dare to challenge their rules, they'll swoop in, arrogantly helping themselves to your plate as if bestowed with divine authority. I've witnessed it firsthand. My father frequently employed this tactic, leaving my mother and sister feeling as though they had no right to relish a meal. He claimed it was for their benefit, but in reality, it was a bid to assert dominance. Should you attempt to assert yourself, prepare for a battle. I recall a time when I lacked appetite and declined a meal, only to be met with his explosive fury. He forcibly fed me until I could bear no more. The twist? They'll twist the narrative, portraying themselves as victims and casting you as the antagonist. With guilt-laden remarks like, "Consider the less fortunate," they seek to justify their abusive conduct. It's not merely about food, it's about dominance and control. Sadly, in the presence of such narcissistic figures, autonomy and self-respect are mere illusions. It's their way or the highway, and dissent comes at a hefty cost. Which dining quirks of the narcissist resonate with you? Share your encounters in the comments section below. Your narrative could offer solace to those navigating similar circumstances. As we draw the curtains on this segment, I extend heartfelt appreciation for your presence. Your backing is immensely valued. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video to spread awareness and support others along their path to recovery. Additionally, explore the complimentary ebook and contemplate booking a personalized consultation using the provided links in the description. Until our paths cross again, let's persist on this journey toward healing together. Take care, and catch you soon.
Engaging in a relationship with a narcissist, characterized by grandiosity, a lack of empathy, and a craving for adulation, can be calamitous. Victims find themselves grappling with profound emotional trauma, leaving them bewildered, wounded, and struggling to move forward. The impact on mental and emotional well-being can be devastating, often requiring years for recovery. Navigating relationships with narcissists proves challenging for numerous reasons, primarily due to their inherent unfairness. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, narcissists typically shift blame onto others. Employing tactics like deception and gaslighting, they manipulate victims into questioning their reality, intensifying emotional suffering, and leaving them feeling lost and powerless. Narcissists exhibit a swift and heartless approach when discarding their victims. Their ability to disregard and treat them as disposable is both astonishing and repulsive. Victims grapple with confusion and pain as they attempt to make sense of the situation. Narcissists, with their callous attitudes, view others merely as tools to fulfill their desires, a perspective that is not only appalling, but also difficult to comprehend. In our upcoming discussion, we'll delve into the 7 deadly sins committed by narcissists and explore how they rationalize their destructive behavior. If you're keen on staying informed and continuing this dialogue, hit the subscribe button for regular updates. Your subscription contributes to raising awareness and fostering ongoing conversations. Narcissists, particularly, embody the epitome of emotional vampires. These individuals thrive on consuming your humanity, integrity, and the essence of being a thinking, feeling human being. The power they derive from bullying, intimidating, controlling, and abusing others becomes a twisted source of satisfaction. Yet, this satisfaction comes at a staggering cost, the sacrifice of one's own life. What exactly are you forfeiting? The ability to think clearly, distinguish between dreams and reality, and process new information slips away. Your perspective and mentality undergo a profound shift. You find yourself unable to remember who you truly are, and the narcissist remains indifferent to this destructive transformation. Their sole focus revolves around satiating their insatiable hunger for power and material gains. The second greatest sin, extreme gaslighting. Every detail you shared with them, your emotions, and your perception of them were intentionally distorted. Why? The narcissist's motive is clear: to manipulate the narrative you present. By controlling your story, they gain leverage to coerce you into actions you wouldn't otherwise take, and make you accept things you wouldn't normally embrace. They wrap you in their psychic energy, tightening their grip until your understanding of yourself, them, reality, and the world becomes distorted, reshaped, and molded. The narcissist's sinister objective: to have you under their influence, relying on you financially and emotionally, all while assigning blame for things you had no involvement in and taking credit for your accomplishments. Allowing someone else to wield such control over your life, leading you to treat yourself poorly, lose your self-worth, and forget your true identity and principles, is utterly unacceptable. Ignorance stands as the third cardinal sin. Narcissists exhibit remarkable precision in assessing their own desires and needs. They recognize that kindness, respect, introspection, and accountability are essential qualities. However, this realization eludes them. Despite possessing the capacity to take initiative, they remain oblivious. Reflect on the moments when the narcissist expressed concern about the potential termination of the relationship or the loss of control over you. During those times, they adjusted their attitude and demeanor to appear more approachable. The puzzling aspect is why individuals would act in a way they knew was necessary to sustain the connection. Aware of your need for respect, understanding, compassion, presence, intentionality, love, and care to nurture the relationship, they still compelled you to plead for these essential elements. Countless positive elements contribute to the growth of a relationship, yet they deliberately withheld access to everything you clearly communicated as vital. When faced with an inability to control you directly, they turned to a smear campaign, Even after their lies were exposed, they persisted, eroding their own credibility. Deliberately spreading these falsehoods was their attempt to undermine and pull you down. The motivation behind this behavior stemmed from their raw, animalistic animosity. It's challenging to accept the need to treat this person with dignity instead of attempting to pacify their anger. While relationship issues may arise, it's crucial to leave the past behind and allow space for healing. However, they didn't relent. When their direct control over you was thwarted, they resorted to using others in a smear campaign aimed at tarnishing your reputation. They damaged your good name, eroded the trust of your colleagues and friends, and infiltrated your personal life. Their indifference to the pain they caused you reflected their delight in the opportunity to do so. Their rationale was to enhance their own self-worth by running a slanderous campaign, winning public favor, and isolating you. This is unacceptable, as it promotes revenge driven by jealousy, vindictiveness, or a cruel nature. Sin No. 5, engaging in extramarital affairs while also maintaining a relationship with you and attempting to keep it secret. When caught cheating, they endeavor to justify their actions. Who benefits from this explanation? When you try to hold them accountable, they label you as crazy, shift blame onto you, and portray themselves as emotionless. Such behavior is characteristic of a malicious person rather than someone disturbed, and are not currently prepared or willing to explore the disturbed aspect of their personality. This is a grievous development. Evil is engaging in actions you know are wrong, fully aware that the truth, when discovered by your partner, would cause them pain. And when confronted, you deflect blame onto them. If not evil, I don't know what else to call it. They inflict the ultimate betrayal by consistently lying and tarnishing your shared moments, with their narcissism shattering your capacity to trust, making this transgression unforgivable. Their regular and deliberate lies create an atmosphere where trust becomes impossible. Once you distance yourself and face reality, the illusion crumbles, revealing the entire relationship and situation as a mirage. Upon discovering the truth, individuals often experience shock and dismay, needing considerable time before they can trust again. Many never fully recover from the betrayal, suffering lasting damage to their ability to trust. The sixth sin involves the abusive use of one's body against another. While not all narcissists resort to violence, those who do can leave their victims so traumatized that they struggle to be around others. It may take years, if not decades, for victims to overcome the fear of their abuser returning to inflict harm. They become uneasy in their own skin, triggered by situations that still feel unsafe or environments lacking adequate physical protection. Growing up with a narcissistic parent, I have a zero-tolerance stance on physical abuse. Resorting to violence doesn't just depict someone who lacks self-control, but someone who has entirely forsaken empathy. Their actions stem from the rage within them, and their demonic, satanic side reveals a complete disconnect from their true selves. Exploitation marks the seventh and final cardinal sin. Narcissists hold themselves in high esteem, considering others as expendable. Fueled by their superiority complex and an inflated sense of self-importance, they treat people as disposable commodities to fulfill their needs or evade pursuers. When pursuing someone, their interest isn't genuine but driven by a desire for personal gain, be it in money, sex, material possessions, or any other advantage. Love, compassion, and concern hold no appeal to them. Their focus is solely on what they can obtain by manipulating and deceiving others into falling into their traps. Seeing individuals as means to satisfy their primitive needs reveals their narrow focus on self-preservation. The complexities of exploitation will be explored further in an upcoming episode. If you've stayed with me, I hope you found this episode insightful. Share your thoughts in the comments, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and spread the word. Stay tuned for the next segment as we delve deeper into the journey of recovery. Narcissistic individuals take delight in causing harm to others, manifesting an irrational and indifferent disposition. This desire for admiration and attention from others is referred to as the narcissistic supply. This provision comprises reactions that are both favorable and unfavorable in nature in relation to their narcissistic conduct. Their ego is nourished by compliments, affection, attention, and adoration, in addition to anger, rage, and suffering. Exposing oneself to the notion that the narcissist has achieved no success will incite adverse emotional responses. They are apprehensive that your success may result in the theft of what they consider to be their rightful property. Potentially hurtful remarks, such as, "Your good fortune was merely coincidental," or, "I wish you total ruin," may follow. These adverse statements merely demonstrate their envy and indiscernible conduct, disregarding their adult status. Narcissists are characterized by a range of negative attributes, including envy, deceit, self-harm, and wrath. They ascribe the results of your diligence and accomplishments exclusively to fortuitous circumstances or fortuitous events. It is a triumph in the eyes of narcissists to accomplish their objective of eliciting emotion in others, irrespective of the reaction. Their primary motivations are dominance and control over others, not the energy or resources they contribute. They achieve this manipulation without resorting to explicit accusations of malfeasance or soiled hands. What should one anticipate from them? Prior to proceeding, I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to all individuals who have viewed this video. Please share the content with your family and friends if you find it to be beneficial. Doing so will help fund the expansion of this channel. Furthermore, I urge any newcomers to subscribe and activate the notification chime in order to be informed of forthcoming uploads. The focus of today's discourse will be on the detrimental effects that narcissists inflict upon their instruments or targets. From the narcissist's standpoint, a source of supply may occasionally commit an error, which would then motivate them to exact punishment. Narcissists are capable of being readily offended, occasionally by trivial matters. For example, communicating with them in a manner that elicits negative emotions from them or neglecting to address their messages in a timely manner may provoke them. Their egocentric wrath is released when you disobey their orders or refuse to do their bidding. Whether or not they are adept at identifying faults in others is contingent on their present disposition. One must consistently remain vigilant in order to prevent inciting their outbursts, even when going about routine activities or simply existing. It might be adequate to set them off entirely. Particularly when determined to maintain control, the principal conduct of a narcissist is to deliberately deprive their supply. The widely employed strategy known as the silent treatment consists of an absolute absence of communication, affection, or concern. It may require an indefinite amount of time before they initiate conversation. In the eyes of the narcissist, this deliberate silence is an agonizing circumstance. They hold the belief that if something proves to be difficult for them, then it must be similarly so for you. A motivation for inflicting harm on others is to reassert their authority and control over the supply, which is accomplished through this form of torment. The narcissist anticipates that the victim will yield to their desperation and do anything to regain their affections under such conditions. The victim is most susceptible to this method of mental torment when they are completely isolated. Narcissists exclusively communicate and display affection towards the individual they perceive as their primary source. As a result, individuals will make significant efforts to maintain communication with the narcissist, even if it requires enduring a chilly and distant atmosphere. This is due to the narcissist's readiness to persist in the silent treatment for an extended duration. Moreover, they might discover comfort and joy in the company of others, while preserving tension and solitude with a single person. The narcissist manipulates any source of supply they can attain by mentally isolating you and obstructing communication with others. They are able to exploit your discomfort, resentment, confusion, hopelessness, or fury through the protracted silence. Doing so gives them an aura of superiority. They may consequently cause you to feel alone and void-like for a prolonged duration. By punishing you for your reaction to their silence and simultaneously gaining narcissistic fuel, they are essentially attempting to accomplish the unthinkable. Narcissists become incensed when we resist their attempts to harm us and refuse to acknowledge or be affected by their actions. By adopting an absent-minded stance towards the narcissist, we communicate that their significance is diminished relative to how they perceive themselves. Frequently, narcissists administer punishments that would be intolerable to them. When mental starvation or another manipulative strategy fails, the narcissist becomes perplexed and enraged. It indicates that your authority is greater than theirs. As soon as we realize we are interacting with a narcissist, it is imperative that we sever all mental connections with them in order to prevent their words from ever affecting us. Narcissists aggressively seek to exert control over our well-being, financial status, health, and any other aspect of our lives that falls within their sphere of influence. This is precisely why it is critical to permanently eradicate narcissists from our lives. We effectively deprive them of the ability to cause damage or manipulate our thoughts and actions by withdrawing our mental support. Indeed, the narcissist is devoid of authentic emotional necessities. Their objective is to establish dominance by subjecting their prey to psychological torment with the intention of coercing them into submission and surrender. This deleterious dynamic negatively impacts both our mental and physical health. We, as individuals, possess the agency to determine whether or not we desire to participate in this manipulation. We possess the capacity to reclaim authority and cease permitting their exploitation of us. Rapidly regaining control of one's life after becoming entangled in the narcissist's game is of the utmost importance. By liberating ourselves from their sway, we reclaim our independence and decline to be further manipulated. Consequently, I believe that concludes the program for the day. We trust that the provided information has been of assistance to you. Kindly incorporate your personal experiences or insights into the section designated for comments that follows. Your time and participation are greatly appreciated.